Hey guys, what's going on? It's Dan Gheesling. Welcome to episode 14 of the Dan Gheesling podcast. Super excited to jump in today. We got a solo episode for you today. We've just hit you with two interviews over the last two audio feeds that have hit. You know, it's been a good run, and I appreciate all the feedback. It sounds like we're shutting down the podcast. We're not actually doing that, but it was good. I want to jump right in, kind of talk about everything that's been going on. First and foremost, we've definitely moved to a lot more interviews on the channel than when we first started. And I love that you guys love that, because I love bringing on friends and acquaintances in the industry to talk to them and kind of get an idea and pick their brain. And it seems like a lot of people really enjoy those episodes as well. And I appreciate all the feedback, from just getting the general gauge that people enjoy that more so than the solo content. Doesn't make me not want to do solo content, more so just do more interviews for a traditional episode than doing these solo podcasts. Are kind of more like the one-offs as we move forward. But either way, I want to catch you guys as to what's been going up over the past 2.5-3 weeks since we've done a solo show. And where we last kind of left off, I had made a decision to switch to 2 YouTube channels. And I went back and forth internally. And so now, I've got some data kind of back from that and have had a chance to synthesize everything. And it's been going really well, and I think for a couple reasons. Number one, I've essentially given the keys to channel 2 over to Zane, the editor. He's kind of evolved in his role. So early on in the podcast, it's been funny. We've been doing this since August. So I think this is like 4 months of the podcast. No, not even 3 months, 4 months. Anyways, and I talked about bringing Zane on and to edit all these videos. And, we initially started saying, hey, he's going to edit X amount of videos a month. And it just is kind of, his role has evolved into both an editor and a producer. And, he just does a lot. And so it's kind of evolved a lot. And so he's been really helpful with the second channel in terms of I kind of gave him the keys to the forward focus over there and gave him some direction. And he's doing a great job with it. So that's helped a lot. And I just checked the analytics on it too, because you have to hit certain analytics nowadays if you start a YouTube channel to be able to start monetizing. Because I knew, from a monetization standpoint, bringing the main channel to 1 video a day would definitely impact the monetization, but that's not the reason. That didn't impact me from what I felt making the right move was, meaning that I know I was going to generate less revenue by splitting the channels, but I think for the long term, it was a good move, and time will tell. But in my head, in my heart, it's a long-term good move for the end user, which is you, the person that wants to be able to, the community member that wants to be able to watch certain things and not have to fumble around looking for it. So I think that's been going really well, which has brought me to bring some focus back on the main channel, and it brings up a unique dilemma because I've really, it becomes a much easier workload or manageable workload on YouTube now, knowing that, hey, on Monday or Sunday, whenever I start, I have 7 videos that I need to make for the channel. And so from a workload perspective, it's gotten way more manageable as opposed to just kind of, having to figure it all out. Now the mental work comes into deciding what to put on the channel. And that's an ever-growing, not issue, but ever-growing challenge that I'm always analyzing, and a lot of it has to do with the feedback. I'll pull up the main channel right now and I'll see, hey, we have a couple Slay the Spire videos, which is very different. We have a lot of first look ats. We have a Star Citizen. So just continuing to test new things and really dive into the comments and feedback on each one. And I've really got into Slay the Spire, which doesn't really fit the mold, quote unquote mold of the channel, but it's really fun. And the initial first couple of videos got some good feedback and people enjoyed watching it. So but at the same time, I'll read something where it's like, hey, Dan, you do a video like Slay the Spire. It's a completely huge diversion from other first person games you have on the channel. So you have to balance taking every piece of content or every comment with a grain of salt will not, with not necessarily derailing what you're trying to do overall. And so I think that's been going good overall. I wouldn't say I have it figured out by any stretch of the imagination. I don't know at any point if you do this, you go this route to create content on the internet, if you ever have it truly figured out. But just kind of plugging away and working hard at it. And it's given me a chance to be a little bit more creative and take a few more chances on the main channel. So I'm super, super happy about that. And one of the things I feel like I've realized in the past really couple days, and especially kind of balancing it in my head, and I don't know if, I could change my mind next week, of course, but for right now, I feel like I've always kind of had this idea in my head that the YouTube channel has to tie exclusively into Twitch, meaning things I'm doing on YouTube should feed Twitch. And I don't know if that's the right move, because I look at some of these Tarkov videos I've been doing, which I really enjoy playing Escape from Tarkov. The views on the video are okay, but it's not like something, when I try random other stuff, those videos do better. So does that mean I'm going to abandon Tarkov on the main channel? No, but it shifted my focus a little bit. We're focusing, hey, this YouTube channel has to feed directly into Twitch and tie in, and maybe that's not the right way to look about it. Maybe it's like, hey, YouTube is a place where it gives me an area to experiment, try different games, and kind of catch a wave, right? I always think about YouTube as catching a wave, meaning that you throw stuff out there and it's the thing you least expect that catches a wave. You guys have heard me talk about this 8 million times, but Cuphead being an example of that. You put something on your channel, it gets by catching a wave, to give you a simple breakdown of a first grade explanation, catching a wave on YouTube is a video you put up that grows or catches more views than anything that you would ever normally get for a reason that you may have no understanding for. And so I think that's kind of what I'm pursuing on the main channel right now, is just seeing what people really want to watch. So with that being said, this is going to be, I just have a bunch of notes on things I want to update you guys on. This, like I said, this is my audio journal, and this is when I write down things that happen. The way that I compose a show is I open a document in Evernote. Evernote is a free app, and you can tie it into your browser, but it's basically just an online notepad. And when something of interest happens or something I want to talk about with you guys, whenever it happens, I'll pull up my phone and put it in there. So by the end of a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I just have this large document. And sometimes it ties together and sometimes it doesn't. I try to edit it so it'll have a flowing podcast. But one of the things that was a little bit odd that happened over the past 2 weeks is that I got an email from a game developer that said, hey, play our game and we want to go on your podcast. And when I got the email, I kind of did a double take. And for a couple reasons. One, I appreciated the forthright, outright, ask. But at the second time, I'm like, let me respond to this email in a way that will provide some value to this individual that's looking to get exposure for their game, right? So I got this email, and when someone says, hey, we want to come on your podcast and talk about your game, number one, I've never got an email like that. And number two, that's probably wouldn't be the best way to go about approaching it. So, I didn't take any offense or anything like that. I just wanted to try and help this individual out that's trying to get some exposure for the game. I just said, hey, typically that's not what I do on the podcast for any stretch of the imagination. And if I were to bring a developer on the podcast, it would be in an interview format. And on top of that, it would be a game that I'm generally interested in or excited about or have played and really enjoyed. And no judgment or no offense to this individual. The game that was presented for me to talk about on the podcast wasn't something I would be normally interested in whatsoever. And it wasn't even one of those things where it was like, hey, this would be a sponsored deal for your podcast. It was just like, I don't know. I just felt like the individual, and I don't mean this is not in a judgmental way at all, but it was out of touch with how to get exposure, right? So I just kind of wrote an email back saying, hey, look, if you're looking to get on a podcast, this is the approach I would take. I would try to develop a relationship with the streamer or a person who's creating content on YouTube before you come with a really hard ask like that, meaning like hang out in the Twitch channel, get to know, do you think this person would like the game? And, at the same time, maybe I was being not altruistic, but naive in the fact that that person would be willing to do that. But if I were promoting a game or created a game, that's what I would do. You know, I would look at people that are playing a similar game, kind of hang out, get a vibe for their channel, become a part of the community, and be like, hey, you know, and then kind of make the soft ask that way. That's how I would approach it. So I spent some time writing that email just because I wanted to help them out, because I can't imagine the approach that they're taking is going to be successful in the long run. So that was kind of a unique email that I got that I just didn't want to instantly delete. And it was such a unique thing I wanted to share with you guys, because sometimes, you know, that's not the first time I've done that. I've gotten an email about, you know, someone saying, hey, will you play the game? And I responded in a similar fashion. I just try to help people because some people don't know, you know, someone could be an extremely talented programmer, designer, artist, and they don't understand, you know, that piece to maybe get it into as many hands get the game into as many hands as humanly possible. Not that I'm some expert at it, but at the same time, I know it would work for me to cover the game if you do X, Y, and Z. And so anytime I can kind of help people in that way, I try to take the chance. And my take on that is that I can try and help everyone, but everyone may not want to be helped or may not be willing to do that. But that's cool. I know when I fired off that email, I knew that was the best I could possibly do for that person. And, you know, if it works for them, cool. If they want to do it, cool. And I wish them best of luck. So outside of that, another hard lesson that I learned, and I guess this ties into bounties, but one of the things, and if you have no idea what a Twitch bounty is, over the past couple months, Twitch has enacted something called bounties. And essentially what it is, it's a marketplace or a dashboard or a spot where, as a content creator, there's a bunch of, not necessarily a bunch of, but a few promotional deals you can take for your channel. Meaning, hey, you play this game for 1 hour, here's the compensation based on how many people watch it. So I've been doing that a little bit more than normal because there's been some applicable things. And I'll reiterate this again because I feel like it's pretty important. The only time I take a bounty or a promotional deal, quote unquote, selling out, is if it's something I'm generally interested in, like a game that I think I would enjoy and the community would enjoy, and also as long as it doesn't take away from what we normally do. So in addition to. So with those things, I've been doing a lot more, and it's been going really, really well from a couple standpoints I'm going to get into a second. But I did a bounty over the past couple weeks, and you have to do something very specific when you do it. And it's something they instituted and I didn't pick up on, because sometimes I'll just go and you have to so before you would just change the title, change the game, and then do the bounty, and then you get credit for it. But they changed it to probably make it a lot easier to track, where there's now an actual bounty button you hit that indicates that you're starting the promotional segment of the show, and then you hit it to end it. I didn't do that, and I did the bounty, and I didn't get credit for it. So the good news is it was whatever it wasn't a big deal, but it made me extremely dialed in from the standpoint of like, hey, look, if you're going to add an hour to the show, make sure that you do things right. So the way the bounties have been going well, has been extremely positive for the channel, because essentially it's an additional revenue stream, which is going to tie into, at the end of the show, there's a few questions we took from our community Discord that's going to tie into that. But it adds a new revenue stream, which revenue stream equals essentially I'm able to do more shows or longer shows and create content more, because it allows me to move the needle in that capacity. So that's been going very well. It allows me to explore new games, try new games on the show on Twitch that I normally wouldn't, because I wouldn't want to, institute something completely out of the norm into the normal show. So it's kind of given an additional hour or so to the show to tack on and try something new. And I think most importantly of all, the community feedback has been really cool about when I do bounties. And I think because people understand the bounties I do, it's not like I'm just sitting there punching a time card waiting to get paid. Like I'm playing a game or watching a trailer that's, something I'm interested in that I think people will be interested in. One that comes off the top of my head, 2 we've just done, is we did a Walking Dead Overkill one, which I'm really into Walking Dead, and it was a first-person unique shooter in a team-based situation. Also Warframe. People go nuts over Warframe. I tried it like a couple years ago, didn't necessarily get it, but when I did the bounty with the Twitch community, with people who have played Warframe to help kind of guide through that, it was a really fun time, and I really enjoyed it. And it was a game that I definitely would have checked out at some point, but to have it in a revenue adding fashion to the show with the community, it's like a it's like the win-win-win situation. So to have that feedback, have people be excited to see new games on the channel, be supportive of the bounties on the channel is awesome. And so, I always kind of take a step back and just feel very fortunate to have such an awesome community support the show and support the channel. And, that's another way people do that. And in addition to that, another thing I'm super fortunate and grateful for is the community that we have, on the, more like the crew that I run with. So, the NLSS crew, like all those guys, we work together when possible in terms of like doing pointed hosts, right? So if we have a back channel on Discord where, if we know, hey, Melf is doing a bounty at this time, if people see that, they all tend to host that individual to help that person. So it's just really been kind of cool and a win-win, I think, overall, people working together from the content creator side to help people, hit their numbers or, just being assistance to them, because I do that. If at the end of a show, if I'm looking at the people I follow or someone I want to host, if I see a member of the crew doing a bounty, it's like, hey, look, you can directly help them and do that. So it's been really cool. I've just been super happy about that. And one of the things I almost feel like I'm always cautious when these things kind of happen because, you don't know the longevity of Twitch bounties. I would think it sounds like a really smart platform that Twitch has created to make it very easy for game developers to get their game or product out there to whatever streamer at whatever level they want. So you would think in theory it's going to continue, but you never know, So for me, I enjoy doing them as long as they fit the channel. And, but at the same time, you're cautious because you don't know how long that stuff will go on. But outside of that, other things that's been going on is, one of the things that we talked about 3 or 4 episodes ago was posting an Instagram video a day on Instagram.com/DanGheesling to help drive traffic or just really create, not necessarily drive traffic, but to create some more awareness on a different platform and not necessarily always be bound to one platform for, relying on growing kind of the gaming presence. And so I haven't done a great job of it. I'm actually going to count how many videos here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 videos in probably the past minimum 3 weeks. So batting under 50%, that's something I know is really important. I just have to get a little bit more dialed in and focused to continue to do that. And the reason being is it's just that it's like I also post, or Zane posts all the videos we post on YouTube on Facebook. I don't feel like there's any downside to posting content or different forms of content on as many platforms as possible because you never know. To me, it's my goal right now. I'm in growth mode, right? I'm doing things, everything I'm trying to do off the show, I focus on trying to grow the community and get exposure for the show. That's kind of what I'm working on with Facebook and Instagram and all these things because you just never know what's going to happen. So that's something I know that's extremely important and got to spend some more time doing. And another thing that happened this past week, there was no Team Unity Tuesday. And the reason being is Ryan was out of town. So we all kind of, I didn't stream. I didn't do anything. I ended up streaming during the day because it was a unique week for me with a lot of stuff going on normally in my real life that doesn't go on, all good stuff. But it was kind of nice to have that night off. It kind of brought some balance to the force. And because the problem for me, and you guys have heard me talk about this with doing a Tuesday night stream, is I'm extremely undisciplined when it's time to shut it down, and I think because I have so much fun with those guys and it's the one time during the week that, you get to collaborate and play with your friends. But at the same time, I gotta get more disciplined with Team Unity Tuesday nights. And I think, every Tuesday's a chance to get better. Outside of that, I don't know if you guys caught it. If you haven't, I would highly recommend it. I did a interview with Pass the Controller podcast. They reached out to me a few months ago, and we finally lined everything up. It's a podcast that's focused on gaming, and I did about an hour and a half interview with them, and I posted it on the audio feed. So if you missed that, I'd encourage you guys to check it out because they were super dialed in. They did a great job. They did a lot of research. And one of the interesting things to take away from it is they returned me on to a game called The Messenger. The Messenger is a retro-esque platformer similar to Ninja Gaiden. I knew it was out there. I had seen a trailer. I knew it was on my radar, but they just kind of helped dialed in on that. I ended up doing a first look at video, and it's a game that I definitely would have checked out at some point, but not as quickly as I did as a result of them. But that was another interview that hit the channel. I think you guys will enjoy, and I like doing that. It's cool. It's I feel like it's another situation that's a win-win. Is that I'm way more apt now to do more podcasts. Not that I wasn't before, because I'm definitely getting asked a lot more now, but I'm way more apt to do them because I feel like, and this, I mean, it just is what it is. It's when I do a podcast on someone else's podcast, it's great because you're going to get a chance to get exposure to an audience you normally would not have gotten, which is amazing in itself. So I've always had that mindset on that. But in addition to that, now that I can also bring that podcast to you guys in the event that you don't see me tweet, hey, check out Pass the Controller podcast or whatever podcast I'm on, the fact that I can, have that as additional content in addition to the episodes here on the feed, I really like that. It just really has made me a lot more willing and able to do more podcasts because I know it'll provide you guys more value and different perspective. And it's different than me doing a solo show because I'm not going to sit here and interview myself and ask myself questions that someone from a different podcast will have a different perspective on. So, I think based on the numbers that I check on the podcast analytics, people enjoy listening to that as well. So that's been going really well. And, so I'm going to continue to do that. Also, it gives me a chance to connect with other people in the gaming space. And, I know the people from Pass the Controller podcast, if I ever go to another PAX East or I'm in the area, I'll hook up with them because they're really cool and they run a good show. But yeah, so that's been going really well. And outside of that, another thing that's been in my mind, and a lot of it is because of our Discord community. And our Discord community has been awesome. If you guys have no idea what Discord is, I always like, whenever I talk about something, I don't want to assume that you know what it is because some people are like, hey, Dan, what the heck's Discord? But essentially, what Discord is imagine Skype, but it has multiple channels, and it's very dialed in, and it's a great place for a community to hang out and always be connected. So essentially, take Twitch chat and have it be on all the time, in a very formatted way that allows people to hang out. Almost, it's like a modern day IRC. But there's been some people in the Discord that have been asking a lot about, hey, am I ever gonna do merch? And I've always had a unique take on that where I've been shied away from it. I don't know why, if it's like an internal debate, maybe I'm like, well, who's going to buy it and things of that nature. And I don't want to say like from a self-doubt, but just being able to create something physically in merchandise that two things have to happen. Number one, someone's going to want to wear, like meaning that people are going to enjoy wearing it or having it or using it. And also that I'm also going to wear myself, right? Because I would never want to create something merch-wise that I wouldn't wear myself. It's just not me. And it's nothing. There's no wrong way to do it, in my opinion. There's people that make stuff that they would never wear and they sell it because that's what people want, and I think that's awesome. But for me, it's just always important that if I'm going to make something and sell something from a merchandise standpoint, I want to like be able to wear it myself. And so that kind of rules out a lot of things, which I'm actually pretty excited about. Like, I'm not going to wear something that says like Dan Gheesling Gaming on it for multiple reasons. Number one being like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm just not, I just wouldn't wear something that has my own name on it. So it's kind of, so it's kind of forced me to think outside of that. And then, it's kind of adapted into thinking about something that I would actually wear that isn't like super in your face. Like, cause shopping wise, the clothes that I wear on a daily basis, I have, I think 4 red shirts that I really enjoy, and this is like just weekday stuff, and 4 black shirts that I really enjoy. I just like the make and model of the shirt. It's simple. It's real, and I do it for a couple reasons. One, I'm not super into clothing. 2, when I wake up in the morning, I don't want to sit there and have to debate for 15 minutes what I'm going to wear. Is this going to look good with these pants or these joggers or whatever? I just know, hey, look, it's either going to be a red shirt or a black shirt. I'm going to wear these joggers and I'm good to go. So, that's for my everyday, like, Monday through Friday stuff. On the weekends, if I go out, it's a little bit different, but I'm just not huge into that. So that plays a big role into, number one, what I want to sell. And then in terms of coming up with a design in my head, like I got to be comfortable wearing it and something I'd be exciting to wear. So I've done a lot of research into, and it's leading to a decision, leading into what I want to do and then how I want to do it. Because there's a lot of platforms out there like Designed by Humans, Teespring, there's just a lot of platforms out there where it's like, hey, you upload your logo, you can put it on 1,800 different things and off you go. Versus, like one of my friends, Wolves at My Door, he has all of his merch is custom designed because he's done it in-house. His website was done in-house with Shopify. I actually texted him and said, hey, your merch store is awesome and all your stuff's really cool. How did he do it? And he said he used a Shopify plugin and things of that nature. But on the flip side of that, so you have like something like, a Spreadshirt or whatever, they do everything. All you do is upload the logo and you're good to go. Versus the flip side, if you do it yourself, you have to find out, all right, what product are you physically going to use? If you're going to do a shirt or a hat, what hat are you going to do? And how are you going to get it created? How are you going to get it produced? Then you have to buy the inventory, store it, set up your shop. So there's a lot, right? So for me, I wanted to control something, meaning that I know I'm going to wear it. So I boiled it down to two things, and what internally I've decided, I'm not going to talk about what it is yet because I only like talking about things that I've physically done. I don't want to talk about, oh, this is going to happen. But I've narrowed it down to two things. One thing I'm going to essentially farm out, and I'm going to try and see if it works, meaning the quality, is it good? Do people like it? Will I wear it? Yes. So I know I'm going to do one thing out of house, meaning that, on one of those platforms, and one thing in-house that I'm going to control the quality, the quantity, the shipping, the handling, just to see how it goes. If nothing more, it'll be an interesting experiment to see what people like. So involved in that, and it's just now I've collected everything. I went out and it's a lot of work, which I don't shy away from, but I've ordered samples of 4 or 5 of the same style product to see, okay, which one of these is going to make the best option for that. And then with that, it's like, it's like the best way to describe it's like a mini business venture. I run a business in my real life, and it's like a mini version of that. But for me, it's very different because it's an actual product. So you're getting essentially the raw product, you're putting your design on it, and then you have to decide, okay, what do you sell this at? Because for me, it's like I want to have something that's really that I'm gonna wear, that people are gonna like, that's good quality but very affordable. Because for me, like long term, could it be a revenue stream? Yeah, but for me, it's more important to have it be something of extremely like high quality and that people are going to enjoy, right? So I don't want someone to drop whatever on merchandise and then it's like, oh, this isn't really, I can wear this 3 times and then it's gone, or I don't really like the way this fits on me, things of that nature. So that's all. I've been spending a lot of time doing that, and I don't think this is maybe not the best time to do it, like time of the year wise, because I don't know when it will be done. But it's been something I've been spending my off stream time figuring out. So it's been, when it does come out, I'm going to share everything about it in terms of the back end, things that work, things that didn't work. But when it comes out, you'll just know that the things I have out are very pointed in a way that it's not just by mistake, and it wasn't just slapping a logo on a platform and hitting the sell button. Because, and like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. If for other people that do that, I'm sure people are successful at that, in their own definition of success. But for me, that's just, I've shied away from doing any sort of merch for so long. When I do it, I just want it to hit that criteria. So that's all exciting stuff going on, and super, super grateful with all the feedback and people being dialed in and the Discord community growing. And it's really, I feel very fortunate. It was, I always talk to my wife about this kind of stuff, and sometimes I take a step back and think about when I first started in 2012, coming off of the second season of Big Brother, knowing that I wanted to go down this route, and then now 6 years later, it's starting to really just turn the corner. It's a lot of fun. I just feel very, very fortunate that I'm able to do this, and I want to thank you, and this is all part of it. So I truly appreciate it. So we're going to end this show with some Q&A that we took from our community Discord. By the way, if you're not a part of our community Discord, I encourage you guys to go check it out at discord.gg/Dan Gheesling, or you can go to dangheesling.com/Discord, whatever is easier for you to remember. And hang out and just see the people that are in our community that are active, because it's been so cool. You see people connect. I'll slide into Discord right now. And one of my favorite things to do, and I was, you can't see it, but I can tell you. So one of the things about Discord is there's text channels and then there's VoIP channels. So people right now, there's 5 people hanging out playing Escape from Tarkov together. One of my favorite things to do is I'll see people playing a game in the VoIP right now. So as soon as the podcast, I'm done recording it, I'm going to slide into Tarkov VoIP. So think of it as like a voice room. There's 5 people in there. They're playing together. I love just popping in there, saying hello, seeing what they're up to in the game. I love that. And to me, this is one of the huge reasons of why I do what I do. I know the people that are in there playing together, they're all super positive and enjoy hanging out with each other. And I'm just trying to carve out that area of the internet or in gaming where people can get together and enjoy themselves and not have to worry about dealing with like negativity, or they just know they can have a good time and dial in. But anyway, so we took the questions this week from Discord. I popped in real quick and said, hey, does anyone have any questions for the podcast? So the first question is from Jay Felk on Discord. And he says, since YouTube channel 2 has gone live on YouTube, your new 1-a-day episodes have felt more passionate. How have you felt about the dual channel move so far? And I'm glad he said that, because I really am. It's splitting the channel and making channel 2 VOD based from Twitch, and channel 1 being YouTube exclusive content has reinvigorated me in that way, to allow me to stretch my mind and stretch my creativity. Say, okay, hey, look, now you have this canvas. What are you going to do with it? And how are you going to make videos that people want to see? So I feel generally positive about it. It definitely, the channels have taken a hit revenue-wise and numbers-wise. But at the same time, I just feel better about it because, number one, and I've talked about, I'm so much more apt to promote a video, meaning talk about it on social media, put it on Instagram, put it on Snapchat, tweet it out, because it's only one video, right? I'm not doing 5 videos. And one of the things that I did very shortly, but I turned it off right away, and it's just how people approach it. I never want to auto tweet. I never want to auto post something on a channel. Whenever I tweet or whenever I post something, I want people to understand it's me doing that, because it's important to me. I don't want people to be spammed with videos. And I've had, on Twitter, and I've had conversation with that. And the majority of people say, Dan, please do that, so I know and I get a reminder for the video. But for me, I never want to have anything automated in a communication format, because that's just something that's important to me. So I'm way more apt to put a video on Twitter now, or talk about this video that came out, because it's only one and I feel really good about it, versus like a Twitch VOD that, is very low effort, and meaning that it takes effort to cut it and edit it and put it up there. But from a creative standpoint, it just has really shifted my mindset on YouTube. And I always think, like, when people are zigging, I always like to zag. So I feel like a lot of people in the gaming space are zigging away from putting gaming content, or not as much up there, which is probably the right move. But I don't feel like YouTube is going away anywhere anytime soon, especially for gaming. I think it's definitely going to drop off. I think people are making less money, but to me, I look at that as an opportunity. So it's, to answer your question, Jay Falk, I've been very happy with it on multiple levels. The second question's coming in from QB. He said, what's your longest term goal? And for me, specifically keeping that question towards the gaming space, my longest term goal is to be able to do what I'm doing for an extremely long time. So to get more granular, to be able to one day say, hey, look, my full-time job is what I'm doing now, meaning have a show 3 days a week, do a YouTube video, have a YouTube produced, and do a podcast. So essentially, it's what I'm doing right now, but be able to do it in a way where maybe I can dial back some of the real life business stuff that I do. That's really the goal. And I don't talk about it much, and I feel like I've shied away from sharing that, but to be able to do this in a full-time capacity, which wouldn't really change very much than what I'm doing now. It's not like nothing would really change, but maybe from like, I don't know, just to be able to do this full time and have it be like the main source of everything, that is my long-term goal. Now, I'm cool if that takes another 5-6 years to happen. Like, it doesn't, that doesn't matter to me how long it takes, but I would say that's my long-term goal. So QB, I appreciate it. Appreciate you asking the question. And the last question is from Pep on Discord. It says, what kind of changes in your general attitude / the way you produce content have you noticed since becoming a dad and family man, if any? So I think I had this realization way before I was, before I had kids. In case you guys don't know, I have 2 young boys, under the age of 3, 2.5, and 8 months old. I think I had a realization somewhere really, really early on, maybe in the first year or 2, and I'm in year 6 of creating content, where I'm like, hey, at some point, my kids and family are going to see these videos. So whatever I do, I want to be proud of, and I don't want them to be able to look at this and say, hey, Dad, you did this, or I did this because I saw you do it in a video, and maybe like, well, oh, I can do it, but don't do that, and be like, hypocritical in that way. Like, so I want them to be able to see me do something or say something and be like, okay, cool, and be okay with them repeating it. Not that I would ever want them to or anything like that, but if, that's why I don't swear. That's why I don't talk about like lewd stuff. That's why I don't swear on the podcast. That's why, it's just not, that's it. And it felt right. And so, I think early on, I started making a pointed effort not to swear early on in the content. Not that I swore a lot or really very much at all, but, it definitely, it was been a conscious effort to do that. And it's just, I don't swear a lot in my real life anyways, but for me, I would say that's the only thing. And the other thing is that I have the podcast editor in Zane. If I'm doing something with someone else and there's an excessive amount of swearing, I'll have them edit it or beep it out. But for me, when I do something with someone else, I never want them to change who they are or how they normally communicate for me, right? So I want someone to be authentic to them. So if they swear, that's cool. I got no problem with it. Like, I don't want, if I do an interview with someone, they're like, oh, I'm worried about swearing. I'm like, dude, just swear. Do what you do. I just don't want, I don't ever want how I am to influence how someone else normally is. And so, to answer your question, Pep, that's the only thing. But I had that realization prior to actually having kids. I don't know. Every now and then I'll have a little foresight. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's podcast. It was back to solo format. I could see us, I know next week it's holidays and stuff, but definitely, I appreciate you guys dialing in. I hope to see you guys next Monday for the next episode. And if you guys have any feedback, the best way on this podcast is to tweet me at Dan Gheesling and say, hey, Dan, episode 14, I really enjoyed this, or have you thought about this? Because I got some feedback on the last interview with Cobalt Streak in direct correlation about, hey, Dan, you cut him off a few times, and that's something I always process. So I read all your feedback, whether it's a YouTube comments, tweets to me, Instagram comments, wherever it is. I'm always listening and I appreciate your feedback. So thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys next week. Later.